Okay. Perfect. Sorry about that, everyone. I guess I'm out of practice these virtual meetings, but I think everything is set up. I'm going to start to share my screen. Just want to welcome everyone this evening. Thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. This is our seventh CPIC regular meeting. It is our last meeting in this term of CPIC. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to read over the agenda and the addendum that was sent out today. So we will call the meeting to order, and we'll start with our prayer. I'll put it okay, so it's on the screen. So if you'd like to join us in prayer. We are in we will say the pastoral prayer. We're in the third part of our pastoral plan. So this year, the theme is with minds of justice and peace. So if we want to start by signing ourselves in the name of the Father and the Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Ever-present God, we always walk in your light and love, surrounded by your care and concern. Our life is a journey with the many choices we make along the way. Grant that we may follow the way of Jesus with eyes of faith and hope, hearts of kindness and love, and minds of justice and peace, always supported by your guidance, your strength, and your safety. May we discover your presence in the people and events we encounter each day as we try to proclaim the good news of the gospel by walking and acting justly, walking and loving tenderly, and walking humbly with you and with one another. Together we ask this through Jesus Christ, your Son, who walks with us each day. Amen. All saints, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. We're going to now go to the land acknowledgement. Jennifer, do you mind reading out the land acknowledgement?
Sure. Out of deep respect for Indigenous peoples in Canada, we acknowledge that all Toronto Catholic District School Board properties are situated upon traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat peoples. We also acknowledge the land covered by Treaty 13 is held by the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and Toronto is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Covenant. We also recognize the contributions and enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people in Ontario and the rest of Canada.
Thank you for that. We're going to continue with our roll call. So Ward 1, Jennifer.
Here.
Thank you. Ward 2, Gabriella.
Here.
Ward 3 is myself. I'm present. Ward 5 East, Ravi. Not here. Ward 5 West, Daniel.
I'm here.
Thank you. Ward 6 Gus sent regrets. Ward 7 Lisa.
Here.
Thank you. Ward 8 East Rochelle.
I'm here.
Thanks, Rochelle. Ward 9 Abe.
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you. Ward 10 Brian.
Here.
Thank you. Ward 11 North James. Ward 11 South Fazi. Okay, so we're going to move on to our community members. Natalia from Owapsi, Toronto. Here, so move on to our trustees, Trustee Lepretti.
Present.
Thank you. And moving on to staff, our director designate, Ryan Peterson.
Here, Joe.
Thank you. And from communications, Marco Oji.
Hi, Joe. Great to hear from you.
Perfect. Thank you, Marco. Okay. I do also want to welcome tonight. We have from AFL, John and Emmy are with us. And as well as a guest this evening is Manuela Seguera.
Hello, everyone.
So we're going to continue.
Gus, Joe, before you go on,
Yes.
I know you said Gus sends his regrets, but I see a Gus here. Is that a different Gus?
Gus, are you with us?
Okay, I'll private message.
Because I'm right now I'm having difficulty with my share screen seeing the body of people.
Okay,
that are in
I'll take
front
care
of
of
me.
it.
That's what I'm trying to. I know he had sent me regrets, so maybe he changed his plans. But if you can do that, Gabrielle, then let me know, and I'll keep going with tonight's agenda. Okay. Okay, so we're on item 4, approval of the agenda. So hopefully everyone has. Ryan?
Joe, is there any way to move maybe 15 up in the agenda?
Move 15. Your report? Yeah, where would you like? Yeah, we can. Where would you
Maybe
like to?
just to after 6, just because Manuel is here and I don't want her to have to stay longer than she needs to be.
Okay. So we're
Okay.
gonna move the director's report after approving of minutes. Can I get someone? Can we get someone to motion?
I will, Jill.
Jen?
Jen.
Perfect, thank you. And the seconder?
I'll second that. It's Gab.
Okay, Gab. Is there anyone opposed to the moving of the item? Okay. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so I'm looking now then to approve the agenda and the addendum. Okay, so there's 2 items on the addendum. And including the change that we're moving item 15 to after item 6. Can I get someone to?
I will, Jill. It's Jen.
Jen. Right, thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second
Someone
that. It's Gab.
Gabrielle, thank you. Is there anyone opposed to the agenda or the movement or the addendum or the movement of the item? Okay, so hearing none. That the agenda has been approved. So moving on to item 5, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest based on our agenda and addendum this evening? Are there any declarations of interest? Okay, hearing none, we'll continue. Item 6 is approval and signing of the minutes from the previous meeting held May 29th, 2023. So this was our last meeting of the school year last year. Are there any questions or concerns with regards to the minutes? I know one thing I tell everyone is to make sure that your name is spelled properly. On occasion, I make those typos when completing these. If there are no questions or concerns, can I get someone to move receipt of these minutes?
I will, Joe. It's Jen.
Jen. Perfect.
I'll second
So-
this meeting. Daniel.
Daniel, thank you. Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none of those minutes are received. Thank you. Okay, so as we made the change to our agenda, we will now go to item 15.
Thanks,
And,
everybody.
yep.
Thanks, everybody, for moving that agenda item up. I'm got COVID at the moment, so I'm glad this meeting was online so I could attend, but I'll give a short update, director's update for September. The year has started off with a really significant positive push. It seems that everyone had at least some sort of break this summer, and teachers and educators and everyone seems to have been ready to come back full-fledged into the school year. So I've had tons of positive stories within schools in my area, and all the senior team is very energized and ready to be back. This month, we celebrate Ukrainian Heritage Month, as well as September 30th is National Truth and Reconciliation Month. And off our website, down on the side, there's a calendar. And if you go to any of the items on there, specifically the Truth and Reconciliation one, you can click on it and it'll take you to a resource package for all different age levels of things that we can be working with for Truth and Reconciliation. But the real reason why I wanted to move this item up was to thank a very dear friend of mine, colleague, and someone who I had been principals with many, many moons ago down in Area 6, and had tremendous respect for her as a school-based principal then when I was a brand new principal, and leaned on her for advice. And then when I came into the superintendent role, and she got this probably the best portfolio that field superintendents can get. I was blessed to have Manuela be the parent engagement coordinator. We had already had a relationship, so we could move very quickly into how we worked together. I want to thank her for the 6 years of very strong, dedicated work to the CSPC's CPIC and all the parents that have come to her throughout the years. So on behalf of the board, and I think CPIC, I don't know if I speak for CPIC, but on behalf of the senior team, I just wanted to thank Manuela for 6 years of phenomenal work in building policy, in advising school councils, always with parents and students' best interests in mind. So my friend, thank you so much for everything that you've done for me and for all the parents in the Toronto Catholic District School Board.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, it was a lot of fun working with Ryan. Fun and really good work. I want to thank everyone for your work, trust, and collaboration. It was a true pleasure working with all of you present here, and the many that have served over the past 6 years. I know they've made me a better person and a better leader. It is my true hope that you continue the good work that is needed as our communities and schools are on this continuum of change, and we need new faces, new voices at the table to bring about those fresh ideas and to help our communities. Parent engagement is in good hands with Ryan. He, beyond our friendship, he really cares about the kids, which I think we all do, and that's our core. That's our core reason for existing in a leadership position, whether your staff or a parent volunteer on CPIC or CSBC. So I wish you good health and continued good work. And who knows, maybe somebody from my school will run for CPIC. You never know. So all the
Uh,
very best. Thank you for the invitation. And I wish you well.
Thanks, Manuela. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Ryan? Perfect. Rochelle, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wasn't clear. So now that Manuela is has left his position, it's just Ryan who we contact in case we have any questions on parent engagement and council CSPC rules and things like that.
Yep. So thanks for the question. There was an email that went out with kind of a flow, but I'm working. One thing is we're setting up a parent engagement email address. So that will go to the Secretary of Parent Engagement, who will forward it in two directions. One direction is anything to do with financial issues like check requisitions or anything to do with banking will go to Veronica in Business Services, who is a dedicated to parent engagement now. That's been one of the structural shifts. And then any of the other kind of governance type pieces will come to me.
Thanks, Ryan. Does anyone have any other questions with regards to Ryan's report? Okay, so I'm hearing no question. I'm just going to take that as an opportunity as well. Just to say thank you to Manuela. I've had the opportunity to work with her for the last 6 years as well. I know when she did join, this parent engagement coordinator role has been invaluable to CPIC. It's brought us support, it's brought us resources. When she did join CPIC, I was the treasurer at the time, so I worked with her along those items with treasury and as a vice chair and now as a chair. And it has been a wonderful journey. I've enjoyed our working relationship, and it's as a parent volunteer, having that support in order to help us with parent engagement was you couldn't put a value to it. It was very helpful. So thank you again, Manuela, from myself and from CPIC for the years of commitment you've given to us, and good luck in your new role as principal. I'm positive that your school will do very well under your guidance. If you're bringing your parent engagement, hopefully will be amazing there, and your CSPC will follow all the governance that you've taught over the years. Okay, can I get someone to motion to
Joe,
receive? Yeah.
Sorry, can I ask one quick question? I'm so sorry. Am I allowed to?
Sorry. Yeah. I didn't see it. So I'm having a problem with my screen. So did you put your hand? Okay. Yeah. You have a question? Go ahead.
I just want to say, Manuela, it's been amazing. Thank you for everything that you've done. We're going to miss you. My question is, there was a lot of great work that was started in the department. Some of the work was workshops for treasurers, workshops for, just the vice chairs and the chairs of committees, and those are really helpful. I'm wondering if those are going to be continued, and as well, who's now going to be in charge of sending out the communications to the parent councils in the different schools, local schools, with all of the information that was it just became, every year it just got better and better. What can we use program money for? What, give us some examples of how to use the PIC funds. So who's going to be sending out those communications? Will they still continue to be monthly communications and so forth?
Thanks, Trustee Lopretti. So in terms of training, we intend to keep the same level of training going. The business services side would be doing that. I have a meeting with business services, I think this week or next week. And in terms of the communications, Manuela's actually done all the communications for this year. She had it already done and ready to go. So those will come out through my department as we go. and then any kind of roadblocks that come up, I'll be addressing those as we go. So we're going to try to do our best to keep that level of service. I'm not Manuela, but I will do my best to try to. Okay. I think Jen has one.
Thanks. Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I just, wanted to say thank you again to Manuela. It's only been 4 years for me, so that's as long as I've known her. She was around before I was there, but just wanted to say thanks for everything that she's done over the last few years. My question is, with regards to the workshops, will CPIC have some input into that? We really haven't had input into what the content of those workshops. I've done a few of them, but it would be great if maybe we could have some interaction with those who are putting that together and maybe give our thoughts and ideas.
So Jen, I'm happy to set up maybe an offline meeting with maybe you and Joe to kind of review what that might look like.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, let's try that again. Thank you, Jen. Could we get someone to move receipt of Ryan's report?
I will, Joe. I will.
Jen, thank you. And the seconder?
I'll second that. It's Gabriella.
Thanks, Gabriella. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none, that carries. Thank you. Okay, so going back now to agenda, we're going to item 7. 7A is the chair's report. Okay, so from May to September, I was busy and I wasn't busy, truthfully. The summer months, there wasn't as much done, but from the month of June and now these first couple of weeks in September, there has been a lot of things going on. So I have been in communication with Director Designate, Ryan, and the Parent Engagement Coordinator, Manuela, previous to her not being in the role. Communication with our CPIC executive members, discussing items. I've been in communication with some of our CSPCs coming to the end of the school year, and even at the beginning of this one with regards to questions and around AGM and elections is what the questions that are usually coming up around this time. I want to apologize because now I see I'm reading in my thing. I would like to introduce our recording secretary. Last year we didn't have a recording secretary, but we do have a recording secretary again this year. And I was in communication actually with her. So I'd just like to introduce Sasha Stephenson. Apologize, hopefully if she will be with CPIC as starting with obviously today and moving forward as our recording secretary. So I was in communication with her because what we did is we made sure, even though I was doing our previous agendas and minutes kind of offline, we made sure that everything is posted. So if you do go to the board website, all previous meetings, all our agendas, our minutes are all posted there. So we are all up to date with that. Communication with webmaster. So that's the TCDSB webmaster, making some changes to our page. I did that as well. I was in attendance at the OAPSI meeting on June 5th. That was their last meeting of the year. I attended the Angel Foundation for Learning annual golf tournament, actually with Gus. So the two of us actually went out to support the AFL. and you'll hear a little bit more about them later on in our meeting and all the good work they do. So we had a great day. We were fortunate to be paired with me and Gus aren't the best of golfers, but we were paired with two gentlemen who appreciated our humor and lack of golf skills. So it was a wonderful day we had that day. Continue to monitor social media and engage when appropriate. I've been kind of tweeting election and our meeting, and I'll be doing some more tweeting later on this week and into next with regards to election, and I'll touch on that too a little later. Again, reviewing board agendas and watching board meetings. I know it's one of the things we all enjoy to do, to see what's going on, to keep up with a day to day, especially with us. For some of our members who are closely work with their trustee, if you're reading the agenda, you're watching the board minutes, you can always kind of give your trustee a shout out and have them ask a question or create an inquiry, right? If you have that relationship, that's a wonderful thing to do. Again, preparing our draft minutes, preparing our agenda, working with the recording secretary to prepare tonight's publications for the meeting. I did receive another resignation. So I received the resignation of Annalisa in June. So she resigned from her secondary parent member position. This evening she's not here with us. And also I received the notification, this was just last week, of Manuela's departure from the parent engagement position, and also that again, I know we touched on it, and that position no longer exists at the moment. So it's not there, and Ryan, I guess this will be filling in the role, and we'll be finding out how the flow of information will be moving forward for any PIC, CSPC, any other issues, questions, items that arise from that. Okay. Are there any questions with regards to my report? Can I get someone then to receive the report?
I
I'll
will,
do-
Joe. Oh,
So
go ahead,
oh,
Daniel.
Yeah, I'll do it, Joe.
Daniel. Okay, and
I'll
a
second it.
seconder?
I'll
Jen to
second it.
second. Okay. Thank you, Jen. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, so hearing none, that carries. Move on to 7B. So one of the things CPICs need to do, CPIC does on an annual basis, and this is also within the Education Act 612, is to create an annual report, which is presented to Board of Trustees. This is the draft. It went out today. I hope everyone has had the opportunity to either read through it or skim through it. I'm going to go through high level of it. I would ask everyone, if you haven't read it, give it a read. Again, if there's something that I missed, something to add, if I have a typo in it, please do bring it up to my attention. Again, this being a draft, because between today and the delivery of this report, it was usually in the month of October, I do still add in some last minute pieces. So our cover page. So the opening letter basically tries to touch on some key points of our year. The work, the continuing creating of awareness of the purpose of CPIC, support of our CSPCs, the changing of our meeting structure. I do touch on our funding and why our funds are where they are. And also I kind of introduce grit, right? Our parent volunteers. And grit is the perseverance and tenacity to get the job done. And I know all of our parent volunteers around this table and all our parent volunteers at our CSPCs show tremendous grit, because they will, and knowing parents around this table, I know they will go to the ends of the earth for the students of their schools and of their board. So again, so it goes into our CPIC structure and our membership. So you'll see everyone listed here, even our members who resigned are still listed, and there is an attendance marker at the end. So that's why I do complete this piece after the last meeting. It moves into our so we have our non-voting members again, which are our trustee, our staff, and our recording secretary. So I did get to put in a picture. If there are any other pictures out there as well, I know I couldn't find any on my phone. We can add another one. We have our listing of our officers, right? Our executive team, and a listing of our meeting for the 2022-2023 term. We list off our subcommittees. So under sponsored events, this year we didn't actually have an event. We were unable to get something going, so we don't have anything to add to that. In terms of recommendation, there's only the one, right? It's with regards to start of school strategies in order to build that initial relationship between parent, teacher, and student, and to engage parent engagement. Our CPIC highlights. We've listed all the consultations that we've done this year. This year, CPIC was very active in this area. We've had a lot of policy come up for review and come to the table. And I want to thank everyone for using your voice when an issue came forward. We were very frank about it and asked some great questions, and made sure that staff were aware of any gaps or any concerns or anything that we even liked, right? Again, it's not always, this group of parents has not always picked on the things that wasn't working. They've also highlighted things that they thought worked well and hoped would continue, right? So we saw that. So that was a wonderful opportunity for us. In terms of partnership, we continue to work with OAPSI, obviously, to promote our engagement, parent engagement. And this year, we made the effort to subsidize our parents to send them to the conference in Kingston. And we do continue to meet with the Ministry of Education staff through quarterly meetings to discuss different topics of parent engagement and ideas. So we provide a summary, which is something we'll also go into the financial report. And then it's a quick thank you. Are there any questions with regards to the annual report? Can I get then someone to move receipt of the annual report?
I will, Joe.
And a seconder?
I'll second.
Sorry, Brian? Thank you. Is anyone opposed? Okay, so hearing none, that carries. So again, that report's gonna, if you haven't read it or if you've just skimmed through it, please give it a read. And if you see anything that I need to adjust or change, correct, please do let me know. Can make those changes. So we're going to move on to 7C, which is the treasurer's report. Gus is with us, however, he is at 2 meetings at once. So he won't be able to do the report. So I'll be doing the report in his absence. So I did touch on the report. The report that you saw in the annual report is similar to this. It's identical, actually. This year, so At the moment, we have $86,182.03, which carries over. So these numbers are as of the end of August, so August 31st. Our fiscal year base goes, even though our term goes from November to October, our fiscal year goes from September 1st to August 31st. So at the end of fiscal year, those are the funds we have remaining. The 86,182.03 will roll over into funding for the 2023-2024 CPIC term, right? We will receive an additional GSN grant, and it will be added to that. So for this year, or for this the end of fiscal year, we've spent $4,911.48 in expenses. You can see the breakdown. We had mileage, parent resources, printing supplies, hospitalities, refreshment, and meetings. So the newest one, or the biggest one, the hospitalities, that is the amount of we paid for subsidy. We ended up subsidizing 5 TCDSB parents for the up to $250 per parent. So that's the $1,250, and then we paid for the hotel for 3 of our members who went to Kingston. So the total between the subsidizing of the 5 and the covering of the hotel for 3 of our CPIC members, that's the 23, 27, 24. The 1,088.67, that is the total we spent for meetings. So we had 4 in-person meetings, and we basically spent about $250 in terms of pizza, donuts, coffee, drinks, in order to be able to come to the meeting and be able to have dinner, right? So one less thing for us to worry about. Are there any questions with regards to our financials? Rochelle?
Hi, Joe. Thanks for that breakdown. For the mileage, is that covered all the parents? Has everyone submitted their claims for the mileage? No one's been left out?
I'm not sure if everyone has submitted their claims. I know we put out several emails asking. I believe most people have. So that mileage, the 1,145.62, that covers mileage to and from meetings for those members who applied. Again, it was only for the 4 meetings, November and December of last year, and April, May of this year. I want to say most people put it in, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that because Gus does that. Though that mileage number also includes mileage paid to those CPIC members who drove to Kingston and back. Okay, so that mileage is including of both things. But I'm looking at my per item, and I believe everyone who had a mileage claim submitted it. Again, if there's anyone out there who had a mileage claim that didn't have the opportunity to submit it, we never closed the window on it because we did say we were coming back in September. But seeing that now our term is coming to an end, I'm going to say this, I guess, for the last time, and I guess for anyone and I guess whoever's on the meeting, if you still have a claim that you haven't put in and you would like to, please do reach out to myself and or Gus, and we can deal with that. Okay. Thanks, Rochelle, for the question. Are there any other questions? Okay, so hearing none, can I get someone to move receipt of the financial report?
I will, Joe.
Chen, thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that. It's Gab.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, so hearing none, that Carries. Thank you. So we're going to move on again, keep moving along. 7D. I'm going to stop share. So I'm going to introduce to everyone John Yan, the Executive Director of AFL, and Emily. Emmy, I'm not going to try to say your last names because I won't say it properly. I won't just say it properly. Who's the Manager, Communication, Events, and Fundraising for AFL. So I've invited them out to give us a presentation. John, do you need, can I make you co-host so you can share your screen, or do you want me to go through the slides you sent? Or the Emmy?
Yeah, I mean, you can just go through the documentation we sent. We sent them in advance so that you don't necessarily have to show them. I'm just presuming people will read them. Our presentation is pretty brief. So, I'll leave it up to you to flash it up on the screen, but people have the meeting documentation and I'll just assume that you can refer to them as we're going through. There's nothing earth-shattering that we're going to be presenting. So yeah, I'll leave it up to you, Joe.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
So
thank you, Joe, for inviting us. I think it's been about, I think the last time I appeared before CPIC, it was just before we got locked out because of COVID. And so a lot has changed since then. Both of organizations, I said that the Angel Foundation would be a significantly different organization emerging out of COVID than going in. And that has been absolutely the case. You've probably seen all the wide breadth of changes, both in staffing and we'll talk about our governance. I also want to congratulate Joe and Jen and the CPIC members for transforming CPIC and modernizing your organization as well. You guys definitely are not the same organization now than you were prior to CPIC, and I think you guys should be congratulated on your work. I know it's been a long struggle. When I was head of communications, Emmy and I spent many a late evening working with the previous CPIC membership, and I can see the fruits of your labor right now. So this is an opportune time for us to re-engage with you. And Emmy's going to give you an overview of some of the major initiatives that we have, basically communications, fundraising, and events, which is at the core of our role as the official charity of the Toronto Catholic District School Board. So Emmy's just going to give you a brief overview, and then I'm going to provide an update on where we are in terms of governance. Okay, so Emmy.
Thanks, John. So thank you so much for having us here. And more importantly, thank you for all the support that CPIC and just parents in general give to the Angel Foundation. We certainly cannot do what we do without all the help that we get from our generous, compassionate supporters. And we're so grateful. We're so grateful to be able to help students as much as we do. And the first few pages that are in your agenda provides an overview of just some of the work that we are able to do, thanks to the fundraising that we are doing. So I'm not going to go through it because you can read it at your leisure. Obviously, the nutrition programs are priority number one, but there are a number of other specific funds that make sure that no student is left behind when it comes to any other educational related needs. As John said, I just want to run through some of our major fundraisers that are currently underway. I'm hoping that you're actually seeing them in our weekly emails. We do send out weekly email blasts, and we do include CPIC and CSPC chairs on those emails. If you're not getting them for some reason, do let us know, and we'll try and figure out how to add you to a special distribution list so that you are getting them. First and foremost, right now, we're gearing up for our first gala in 4 years. So we're really excited about that. That will be happening December 1st. And we do have a new venue at Chateau Le Jardin for that event. It's sort of the signature fundraising event of the AFL, and it's a chance for supporters and friends and colleagues to gather and celebrate student success and to raise funds for student needs. So all are invited and welcome to attend. Tickets are on sale at an early bird price until Thanksgiving, and then the price will go up a little bit. For that event, we recognize that not everyone can go, but leading up to that event, we will have an online auction as well, so that people who can't be there in person to take part in the auction that's happening physically at the event, there will be a virtual auction for everyone else. We also invite you, if any of you work in environments where, you know, there's a possibility of corporate donations, or if you are connected to anyone who might be able to donate, whether it's an auction item or maybe they'd want to sign on as a sponsor, please do have them get in touch with us so we can reach out and follow up. We're always looking for all the help we can get. We have our raffle underway. I don't know if you have your 50-50 tickets yet. I didn't check the jackpot just before the meeting, but earlier today it was up over $16,000. And the last one we did back in June, the pot got up to 60,000. So the winner took home $30,000, which was absolutely amazing. So everyone in Ontario is eligible to play. So please spread the word, friends, family, anyone who likes to do a little bit of gambling and wants a shot at winning prizes. There's 2 early bird prizes left, as well as the jackpot draw on October 6th. We have our Believe in Angels week coming up, and that will be the week leading up to our Snowball Gala, the week of November 27th to December 1st. We sort of branded each day of the week with a specific theme and tried to come up with 1 or 2 ideas that fit with that theme. And we're hoping that our school communities will not necessarily participate in all 5 of those, but that they will maybe pick 1 or 2 that is doable for them and get involved in, you know, sharing our story and helping us to raise awareness and funds. So watch for more information on that. And the other ongoing thing for the next few weeks is our partnership, well, not partnership, but the Argos have been, for the first time, they've developed a relationship with us where they provide our supporters with a discount code. So if you're interested in attending one of the Argos home games, your ticket price is about 25% less than what you would be paying normally at the box office. And $5 from every ticket that's sold using that discount code will be donated back to the Angel Foundation. So we have a similar relationship with the Toronto Marlies and Raptors 905 as well. So we'll be sharing those opportunities as they come up. So those are the key things. We did include a copy of the June newsletter. I was hoping to include the September one, but we're almost ready to roll with it, but it'll be a couple more ones soon. But this will give you some of the highlights of what's happening. All for all that you do to work with us and help students. Back to you, John.
Okay, so thank you, Emmy. So Emmy has given you a sense of the wide scope of our fundraising and our communications, and our core business being student nutrition, where we fund the serving of 1.2 million meals a month, and that means over 60,000 students every single day. We were just at St. Roch this morning with Trustee LaPretti, who was with me almost all morning, where we had CBC TV, national news, covering our push for national funding of student nutrition. And that's something that I'm hoping will happen under this current Liberal government before they ride off into the sunset. So a lot has changed since COVID. To give you a sense, and I'm leading to why we're here today, or why one of the main reasons why Joe invited us today. And Joe, I forgot to mention, thank you to you and Gus for coming out to our golf day fundraiser. You know, I've never seen people cut the grass without a lawnmower, but Joe and Gus were able to do that with their golf clubs. So amazing. But what was more amazing was they were part of 130 players that helped us raise over $43,000. That's net. To give you in context, previous to COVID, a typical golf tournament would raise maximum about $9,000. So we've increased almost everything, the level of everything that we do, to a broader scale. And why have we done that? That's because since COVID, the need for support from the Angel Foundation has grown exponentially. Prior to COVID, our budget, the Angel Foundation's budget, which was supported by fundraising, was about $60,000 a year for various guardian angel funds. Over the last 2 years, we have been actually spending, supporting students, and that's aside from nutrition, $1,000 every single day. As a matter of fact, when you see our financial documents, our audited documents for this past fiscal year, you'll see that our fundraising has reached almost $500,000, and that's through Emmy's work following my direction to put the fund back into fundraising to fund all those guardian angel programs, whether it's uniform vouchers or supporting students and families that have extreme needs or can't afford glasses or other medical devices. We are funding $1,000 a day. And last year, we spent close to $400,000 in supporting families and students, our neediest families and students. So the governance role of the Angel Foundation has changed. And one of the things that I insisted that we do when I took over was that we needed to be more representative of the communities that we serve. And you will notice that in the documentation I provided Joe for this meeting, I gave you an overview of the current makeup of the Angel Foundation Board of Directors. And in particular, you probably noticed that we have something unique, and that is we actually have 4 student representatives on our Board of Directors. They give a standing report on fundraising at each of our meetings. So on the student engagement front, we're right there. I've always said that an organization that is for students has to work with students. And so when I took over the foundation, that was my first priority. And we have a number of initiatives, much of which is being led by Emmy. Our 18 events with the students is helping us drive that engagement because they feed into allowing us to know exactly what they need as students and identifying what the gaps are. What we're missing currently is the parent engagement component. That's why I'm here. My motive for being here is about parent engagement. And that's the purview of this body of CPIC. And when we first passed this new governance structure back in the middle of COVID in January 2021, we allocated a parent representative position on the AFL Board of Directors. And in our bylaws, 10.01K, we have assigned one person who's a member of a local Catholic School Parent Council, CSPC, or OAPSI Toronto, or CPIC, to sit as a member on the Angel Foundation Board of Directors so that we have that parent engagement piece. And in consultation with Alistair Robertson and at the time the legal counsel for the board, Melissa Eldridge, we mandated that this position is approved by this body, CPIC. So you guys get to choose, just like the other positions representing the superintendents, the Toronto Catholic Principals and Vice Principals Association, all those various groups approved, including the Board of Trustees. Marcus DiDomenico and Kevin Morrison sit on our board as the trustees for the TCDSB. They are elected and appointed by their various bodies. So I'm here tonight to ask that you consider filling this parent rep position, because it's gone unfilled for at least 2 years now. And I think it's come at an appropriate time when the Angel Foundation is moving into its next chapter as we move out of COVID and normalize all our operations, and with a need for that parent voice. So I've also attached a description of the type of board member that we need and want, as well as a draft or a suggested application form that would go to the CPIC chair in terms of having this body pick a person. You don't have to use it. I just included it because that's the form we use for our community members. But it allows you to sort of have the candidate itemize on paper why they would like to be on the AFL board, and it makes your decision a lot easier. So this is a formal request to have someone approved by CPIC join us, the Angel Foundation, in doing what we're doing best, and that is supporting the students and parents of the Toronto Catholic District School Board as the official charity. It's the last piece of the puzzle for me. When I first took this, when I retired as the head of communications, and I, 4 months later, I ended up downstairs heading the foundation. I only did it because the potential of this organization, of the Angel Foundation, just like CPIC, is just so enormous to do a lot of good for a lot of students and parents, that I made a pledge that I would do my best to bring the organization to the next level. And I don't know if people know, but I'll be riding off into the sunset, retiring in December. But this is my last piece of the puzzle and my last item on the checklist that I haven't been able to complete. So I just want to make sure that you know that you will be welcomed, and I'm in the nicest way asking you to join me in having a bit of fun, and you won't regret it, and being one of our angels on our board of directors. Joe, I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you, John, for that. Are there any? Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Sorry guys, I don't put my camera on. I'm suffering from massive seasonal allergies in my feet. I look like a puffer fish right now, so I'll keep my camera off so I don't scare anybody. John, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you've done. You've really turned around the Angel Foundation in the last couple of years. It's been amazing. I mean, I've been the snack program coordinator at our school, and it's a hefty job, and we had a lot of help from Angel Foundation. So thank you for everything that you've done, and I hope whoever fills your shoes, it's a big shoes to fill. So thank you, John. Also, I've heard, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that there's a moratorium now on delivering those snack programs into schools or new schools. It's a little concerning, considering that we're dealing with food insecurity and the prices of food, and yet we're not putting these into newer schools. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, so the moratorium has been in place for the last 8 years. Any schools that didn't apply and get a program in 2014 or discontinued their program, the funding was cut in 2014. So that is concerning, because we only have 160 7 of our schools with student nutrition programs. That leaves, you do the math, 30 some odd without. Thank God all our secondary schools, except for the choir school, have a student nutrition program. But we've been fighting really hard behind the scenes. And one of the reasons why CBC National was at St. Roch this morning with us is I've been pushing really hard on having the current Liberal federal government, Mr. Trudeau, live up to his promise that he made 2 years ago that he would fund the National Student Nutrition Program. Currently, the city of Toronto is about $500 million in debt, so they have no new funds coming to us, and the province under Mr. Ford is currently reviewing what they do give us. What they've given us over the last has not increased by 1 penny over the last 8 years. So if you know the rate of inflation, that actually amounts to at least a 25 to 30% funding cut. So we've been lobbying really hard, working to try and have that changed. Where CPIC can help us is that, I'd be more than happy to share our submission to the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, who funds the provincial component of our S&P funding. Our total S&P funding is about 6.25 million, of which we get about 4.5 from the city, and we get just under 2 from the provincial ministry. We're trying to have them raise that level. They're currently doing a review by being authored by KPMG, and we submitted a very substantial document with 11 recommendations to move us forward with increased funding. And I'd be happy to share that with Joe, with the hope that you guys can encourage. And this is where, I mentioned the importance of having parent engagement. If we would have had a CPIC approved parent rep on the Angel Foundation board, it would have been natural for him or her to bring what we had submitted to the government back to CPIC, and you guys could have gone and engaged parents and have them write letters. Because one way, of course, to have things changed or have things done is for parents to voice their concerns to the elected representatives. So all that to say, you're absolutely right, Jennifer. It's unfathomable that we don't have a universal student nutrition program, but we just happen to be lucky at Toronto Catholic and at Toronto Public that we both have foundations of significant size that we can not only have student nutrition programs, but fund the shortfall, which is also what we've been doing at the Angel Foundation, because what they give us doesn't cover the full amount of the program.
Well, to what you just spoke about, getting parents to reach out to their MPs, is there something that you have that we can send out to our parents, like Ryan and Joe? Is there something where we can do now to engage our parents or send them information to asking them to reach out to their MPs? And maybe there's a letter from the Angel Foundation that can go along with that, and we can.
Yeah, so I presented to the Board of Trustees, the TCDSB Board of Trustees. I can't remember, I think it was March 2nd or April 2nd, I can't remember. But anyway, where we asked the TCDSB Board of Trustees to also engage in lobbying, which they've done. The letter, we don't get it because we're in a precarious situation of being funded by the various bodies. We don't necessarily put out things like a template letter. We leave that up to the partners that we engage with in that. Perhaps that's something, Ryan and I can take offline where, we can encourage that someone from the parent engagement side of things with the board and with the help of communications at TCDSB, do a a template letter. Template letters aren't as effective as unique letters from parents. Having worked in politics earlier in my career for the first Trudeau, I can tell you that when it comes to form letters, they don't have the same impact as from the heart, authentic letters from parents that have genuine concerns or individuals with genuine concerns.
Okay, so maybe just sending out a letter then encouraging our parents to reach out to their MPs with a personal request from them.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jen.
John.
Gabriella?
Hi, John.
Hi.
Thank you for your presentation. And as you were speaking, I heard you say that we have a counterpart in the TDSB as a foundation, as far as foundations go, given that we're the two larger school boards in the province. But inside of the 72 or 73 school boards that exist in the province, are there other foundations other than those two that exist to this end?
Yes, but not our size.
Of course.
There are, but what they're involved in is, for instance, the next largest foundation for a Catholic board is, I believe, Halton Catholic. Their budget is about 50,000 to 60,000 a year. The Angel Foundation spends that by noon on the first day of school.
Got it.
So it's not and they're not involved in the same things, and they definitely don't have student nutrition programs at all, if any. Most of their programs would be, if they do have one, would be parent funded at the various school levels. Whereas, as you know, our student nutrition programs, although we ask, the schools may ask for donations, they're 100% funded universally in the school. Every child is entitled to a student nutrition program if the school has one, right? So that there's no stigma. So
the reason I ask it is because I see an opportunity here from at least the lens where I, where I participate is in partnerships, strategic partnerships. And what I hear is the opportunity for a coalition. Not only, of course, given that we would be the leaders of said coalition, just given our sheer size, but the opportunity to have our speak and reach to parents across the province, or at least perhaps the Golden Horseshoe or something along that nature. And I'm interested in sharing some thoughts that might make a difference. So I just wanted to get a sense of that, and I'll touch base with you offline to see if there's anything that could.
Well, you sound like a perfect candidate that might be a good rep on our for the Angel Foundation board. I mean, the reality is that the foundation, other foundations, I know, like I'm from Ottawa. I live in Ottawa, so the Ottawa Catholic Foundation actually during COVID shut down. So we're lucky here, and Toronto Catholic is lucky that they have us. So foundations of any kind have also suffered during COVID, during the shutdown. But I do get your point that if we can reach out, and that's one of the reasons why the Board of Trustees, and maybe Ida can speak to it, but the Board of Trustees under Maria Rizzo took our presentation back in March or April and moved a motion that the Canadian Catholic Trustees Association, to lobby at that level as well. So I think if we could maybe, I'll make a note of it right now, that if we could sit down with the staff, meaning Ryan and the superintendents that are involved, maybe Shazia, the head of communications, and maybe Marco can convey this back, that some sort of lobbying campaign, a concerted lobbying campaign amongst the various Catholic board entities, whether they're foundations or trustee groups or trustee boards. I think that would be a unified approach that might bear some fruit. We're trying the other side where we're pressuring them through the media to live up to their promise, and because as we know, with the way the Liberals are in the polls right now, the people that are ahead right now on the Conservative Party side likely are not in favor of funding something like a national nutrition program. So we do have a narrow window, but I'd be more than happy to, expand our reach and to have discussions with how we can collaborate with other members of the TCDSB teams that do have, outreach into those areas, including yourself.
Perfect. I'll reach out to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabriella. Thanks, John, for that. Are there any other questions with regards to the AFL presentation? Again, as John said, the reason for them to be here this evening to talk to about the foundation and the wonderful things that they do. I'm sure most of us around the table are aware. I can tell you the school where my son goes uses AFL for certain things as well. But again, it's that parent component. And again, I spoke highly. I said earlier, the wonderful people we have around this table and the voices we have. And this is another opportunity, right, for one of our voices to join a board of directors that is doing a lot of good and will keep doing a lot of good. So if there's no other questions, I just want to say thank you to John and to Emmy for the presentation. Yes, we'll be in contact to see how we can roll this out. I guess with Ryan and with Marco and communications, and we'll figure out a way to make it happen. Can I get
Great.
someone?
Yep. Thank you, Joe, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Can I get someone to receive the presentation for this evening?
I will, Joe.
Jen.
I'll
Thank
second
you.
it.
Gab, perfect. Anyone opposed? Okay, so hearing none. That is received. I will continue. Okay, so moving on to our program. So 12A is our school messenger parent councils, Catholic school parent council school messenger communication protocol. So this is a motion that went to board, I want to say almost 2 years ago, or about 2 years ago, and it has come back and forth, and now it has finally come back with the protocol. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to read this. I guess one of the goals with the school messenger communication was to kind of give every CSPC the opportunity to use this communication tool that we have. We are aware that a lot of our CSPCs are already using this tool, but there are some who aren't. So now with this protocol that has been created, now every school basically has the right, the ability to do this, to communicate to their school community through school messenger, right, through their principal. Okay. Right, so the executive summary is the breakdown. I'm not gonna, so I'll take questions. Jennifer?
Hey, Joe. Okay, so how is this going to work then? As a CSPC chair, you'll have access to create something within School Messenger, and then it goes to the principal, or how is this?
No, it's right here on the screen. So school
Okay.
messenger communication workflow from the CSPC chair, co-chair, or secretary through the principal will continue as an email process. Right. CSPCs will notify the principal in writing of their intent at least 1 week prior to the message being sent out, allowing the principal to respond within 48 hours to the intent. CSPC must include CSPC signatures, their full name and title for CSPC messages in compliance to all relative school board policies and procedures, and share a draft message with the school principal designate for review and feedback 72 hours prior to the requested distribution date. The message to families and parents. Sorry.
Okay, so we create it within School Messenger, Or we just send the principal an email like we've always been doing?
No, it's the process it continues as an email. So you're still creating you're still creating the communication through the email process, right? What this protocol does is just it puts into words what every CSPC is allowed to do. Again, we know each one of our schools may run differently.
Okay, but
may
Joe,
have-
I don't think you understand what I'm saying, because it says school messenger. What's the title on it? School messenger protocol, email protocol.
School messenger communication protocol.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with the actual school messenger, like the communications that go out, or the way administration sends out through school messenger. This has nothing to do with that. This is basically the protocol or guideline in which a CSPC chair sends emails to, like, what they want to go out to their community through the principal. The same way we've been doing it forever.
Yes, yeah. It's
Okay,
this is how to send that. If you want a communication to be sent out by your principal, this is the process as to which to do it. And
Okay.
I'm aware that a lot of CSPCs have been doing this process or have been following this process, but a lot of them haven't. So the idea too behind this, now putting it in writing, is now those CSPCs who haven't been following this process now know there's a process.
Okay, but what other process have they been following?
I'm not sure. I'm just saying I'm not sure what those councils may have been doing.
Okay, because when we put through the request that we put through a couple years ago, that's been an ongoing issue, and because was the ability to let chairs have access to send directly through from school messenger with the principal to just to vet it and then send it. I mean, I think the idea was the same process that the TDSB is doing, but this is just something completely different. This has nothing really to do with the motion that was put forward to the trustees.
Ryan, do you want to?
Yeah, I can try to clarify a technical piece that was brought up. When this went back to board, I believe Executive Superintendent Steve Camacho at the time had indicated that there was a possibility of a workflow button where a CSPC chair could draft an email and that it would workflow to the principal, who would then approve or disapprove the email for it to be sent out to the community. When they went back to the vendor after that particular feature with the vendor that we have for Messenger was not applicable or able to do. So that's what I know around that particular piece. I hope that helps, Jen. So the process that the IT staff went back to was this report here. Now, I believe this messenger protocol went to board and then was recommended back to CPIC with a process, and that's what we're seeing here. Does that make some sort of sense? But the actual functionality,
yeah. So nothing
basically wasn't available from the vendor.
Yeah, so basically nothing has changed. So our request to have the same process that the TDSB is doing is like that was basically it. I mean, our concern too is that when we put together, I mean, for all accounts, I don't think there are CSPCs out there or chairs who are doing anything nefarious that they want stuff sent out to parents. Most of it is just communications about things that are going on, and like we understand that there has to be a vetting process. But we're also the other concern too is that if I mean, I think it helps to, what, I don't know. I'm going to leave this. Is this coming? So this is, what are we doing tonight with this? This is just a protocol that's going out to all CSPC chairs?
I believe this, and maybe Joe, help me if I'm wrong here, we'll go back to board. Is that correct?
Uh,
I've got a
if I'm,
lot on it too, actually, but I'll find out.
my
Yeah, because-
assumption, this,
Sorry, go ahead.
so again, this is the process that has come to us from our ICT team, right? And again, they created this workflow process because again, the ask that we had asked was again, and what we had said was it's similar to for those CSPCs who use Kev, right? Who use School Cash Online, right? There is a particular workflow through School Cash Online where a CSPC member can go in and create something and then be approved by the principal. I guess that was our ask. And again, the piece that came back from board was that particular process is unavailable. So this was the next available process. And again, like you said, I know schools are using this process, right? But this process is actually never been written down, right? There's nowhere in any of our documents, in any of our policy, in any of our like appendices that it lists that CSPCs have this ability, right? So this is basically going to lead to that, right? So anyone, as new people come onto a CSPC and they need to determine or learn, or new principals come into the principal role and they need to know how CSPC communication should be done. There's going to be a document that kind of walks them through. I know when we sometimes look, the people who have been in parent engagement a long time, we see it through different eyes. So one of the things we want to do is we want to kind of give the lens of someone walking into the role, both a CSPC member and an administrator, right? How does that communication look? So tonight we have the ability to look this over. If we like it, if we don't like it, if we want to make changes, or, again, this body is able to make a motion or change something, that we have that capacity. Daniel?
So I'm gonna follow up with what Jennifer said. Like this, I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous. Like this is okay. Send an email to the principal and they will respond. Like someone actually took the time to write this out. Like, I'm sorry, this is not what we were asking for at all. Like I've been on CPIC for years, and then a year previous to that, we've always okay, the other day I had to send an email to the principal to send out a reminder for CSPC elections. And that's fine. I sent him and he sent out the email to the community. But it would have been so much easier if I could just put it together, or the co-chair could have put it together. Like it should be a simple process. And all these years, and this is what we're getting back. I don't know. It's simply not enough. It's not enough. And like I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
I could tell you, Jen, is that old hand or new hand?
No, it's still new. It's new hand.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, there's a few things here. It says here, notify the school principal in writing with their intent at least 1 week prior. I mean, is this just a guideline? I mean, I'm assuming that I know sometimes I've been the chair for a long time, and sometimes, things like go out the day before. Like I send something to the principal and it's like a day before it goes out because things pop up. I mean, I'm assuming this is just a simple guideline, but sometimes when we send things out, you got to remember too, we have chairs that are like brand new. We have a lot of CSPC parents that come in that are new, and they may take this as like, no pun intended, the Bible. I mean, they say, oh, a week. I gotta make sure that's in for a week, or they're not gonna send it out. But there has to be some like leeway. But yet again, this is not good enough. I don't understand why the TDSB is doing it and we're not doing it. Like, what is the magic they have that we don't? If we're using the same systems, then this is what I'm not getting. So, and I don't, myself, I don't like this, so I won't even I vote against this. I don't like it. It's not what we asked for. So my vote is no.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Again, again, if there's things we want to change or amend, right, we do have that opportunity. Right.
Also, too, what is the when the principal gets it and they're changing stuff before they send it out, is it the responsibility for the principal to then send it back to the chair and say, this is what should be changed, or we're changing? Or, I mean, is it a two-way thing? Because sometimes things happen where things get changed and people don't know about that. So it can cause some issues.
Okay, so then we may want to add like a backwards button. Okay, Gabriella.
Hey, so just something that comes that I hear out of this, and from what Daniel and Jen have said, is, and I'm kind of new at this from this perspective or this lens, but it occurs like there's like a level of distrust with the communication that will come out of CSPC or something along that line, like just to ensure that the communication is in line with what either the principal wants to be said or what the board wants to be said. And I get it, right? Because not everyone has a very crisp style of communication, or maybe it's not professional. I understand all of that. But it seems like we would benefit from having a bit of a more robust process and clarity around the feedback that a principal gets. Because from my experience, principals are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're pretty busy with running everything that is required to manage the students, the school, everything that happens on a day-to-day basis. So wouldn't we want to take things off their plate and collaborate rather than make it more like to put more on their plate just to get communications out? I just see that there's an opportunity here to do better. Yeah, that's what stuck out for me.
Daniel, did you new hand?
Yeah, it's a new one. It's a new one. Yeah, I found another issue with this. Can you just scroll down a little? Right there. So, like, I can see this being used by a principal who's not too keen on parent engagements, using this as a way to say, well, you didn't get back, you didn't send it a week ago, so I'm not gonna share this with whoever I have to share it with, because here are the 4 steps you have to do. I'm not going to do that, which seems to, with some parents at some schools, it seems to be an issue that some principals aren't too keen. At most schools, it's fine, but at some schools, they're not too keen on the parent engagement side. So if they can have any reason not to deal with the parents, this could be used as a way to not deal with it, to push it away, to push this stuff away. So, like, yeah, there's way too many issues with this document here.
Thanks, Daniel. So again, this document was provided to everyone on Wednesday with the full agenda, and I can appreciate everyone's comment on the thing, on the process that's been brought forward. I can tell you, being sitting around this table for the last 9 years, this started in 2014, right? The ask of CPIC for CSPCs to communicate to their school community, okay? It started in 2014. Now, from 2014 to 2023, a lot of things have evolved, especially with technology, privacy, and all those rules that you've seen. And it's come to, an impasse. COVID basically made School Messenger a communication tool, because when I was first introduced to School Messenger, It was not to be a communication tool. It was meant to be a tool to report absences and lates and that sort of thing. But it evolved because there was a need at the time, because we stopped sending papers home. And this again is about 2 years in the work to get to this process. Yes, in talking, I remember me and Jen talking, seeing what, and I think I even reached out to my counterpart at the TD SB to see how they were doing, this, and what gaps or any glitches that they were coming across. And I know they did have problems rolling out their school messenger communication. I haven't had a follow-up with that PIC chair. Actually, that PIC chair became a Toronto District trustee, so I never finished that conversation. So we're here now, and we're here at the table, right? So as a group, if there's something you want to see changed or made different, right? I can understand. I understand where Gabrielle's coming with the distrust. I don't think there's distrust. The reality is there's liability. The liability falls on the principal, right? At the end of the day, that that person takes on anything that goes wrong, even if it's the fault of the CSPC. And even as parents, we can say, don't worry, if something goes wrong, I can take it. You can blame me, miss. That's not how it will work. So we have to, we're looking for a compromise at the end of the day. So if there's something that you want to see, this is, we have an opportunity to I guess, to put something together, or to defer this report, to not vote on it, right? The will of the board is what I'm looking for, right? Jennifer?
Okay, so are we voting for or against this? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is this report is here. When a report comes to our table, we review it and we move it as receipt. Right now, I'm not sure how many of us have watched board meetings, right? A report comes to their table, they vote on it as receipt. So we're following that same process. However, if we don't want to just receive it, we want to make changes to it, then we have to put that in the motion, right? Or if we're receiving it but sending it back for an update, but and hitting certain points, you know what I mean? Like the process that CPIC follows is, we take something, we debate it, we put a motion, and within that motion we can give certain instructions.
Can we put this off to another meeting?
Well, we can. However, so
I'd like to put a motion forward that we put it, I want to put it to another, push it to another meeting.
We have a couple other speakers, and I'll complete my thought, and then we can go with that. I'm going to go to Gabriella first, and then I'll go to Ida.
So perhaps this is a function of, once it gets deferred, we look at some proposals or some ideas. But what's right there for me, and again, this is something that I see as a natural progression of how to communicate with parents, is much like we say, yes, we're okay with our child being photographed and being put on media, a parent can just say, yes, I'd like to receive direct communication from my CSPC, or no, I don't want to receive direct communication from my CSPC. And those that approve of it can, the opportunity is to receive direct communication from their CSPC. And I feel like that would make a big difference as far as removing any bottleneck that might be, the actual permission is there. If a parent doesn't give the permission, they don't receive it. And it would be speaking to those CSPC leaders that want to directly communicate, as we have some communities that are more active than others. So that would be a recommendation, like a solution or a proposed idea to put on the table. And that may be something that we do at a later time. So if we table it, we have to then schedule a time that we're going to discuss it, to come up with recommendations and bring this back.
Ida, go ahead.
Thanks. I believe that there was,
Oh,
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
Ida.
yeah.
I apologize. I was on mute. I had asked you to give me a sec. I just wanted to respond to Gabriella.
Oh, okay, go.
Inquiry, and I'll let you go. I apologize.
No.
Start from again. For anyone who has the school messenger app downloaded on their phone, I'm not sure if everyone does or doesn't. Within the app, actually, it's changed. So when you go into contact preferences, it now has a CSPC button. Right, so you can go and there's a under message preferences, there's the selection, right? So they've started to incorporate that idea that Gabriella has brought up, where you can go in and click what you want messages from, and what type. So if you want a phone message or if you want an email message, so that within the app, like that download that's on your phone, that's already started being incorporated. Now, again, the one thing that this report doesn't say, and this might be something Ryan can take back, and we obviously don't have, ICT here to answer our question. When principals send out reports like communications now, it goes sent out. Now, again, because I'm on the school messenger app, there is a CSPC button that you can say yes or no, that I want to receive CSPC communications. I guess and this is the logistic. I guess this is a logistic part of the communication. Is there a button at the send person? Like whoever's sending it, do they click, this is coming from CSPC, or this is coming from the principal, this is coming from the snack program, right? Whenever they send out these different communications. So I'm not sure if that's something Ryan can answer, it can take away, but I'm going to let Ida speak, and then maybe if Ryan wants to continue to add to the conversation. Ida?
Sorry, I think that there was a survey sent out to parent councils across the board. And I think the survey results did come back saying that most parent councils were happy with the status quo and did not want it to change. I'd have to find that. I don't have it on me, but I did do a quick Google search for TDSB's policy. And although it is, different, a lot of it is the same. So notify the school principal or their designate in writing of their intent to send out a message within 1 week prior to the message, draft and review the message. Sorry, it's really long. Draft and review the message prior to distribution. Share a draft of the message with the school principal or the designate for review for feedback, a minimum of 72 hours prior to the distribution of the message. So, I mean, there are a lot of similarities between like what is in front of us and what's in the TDSB summary or guidelines. So I don't know if you want to table it, you could table it, but I think that you should, if we're going to be referring to the TDSB one, although there are similarities or like many, there are differences, there are many similarities as well. But I just wanted to point out that I do believe, I'm almost 100% sure that there was a survey sent out to all the parent councils. The majority did come in and say that they'd like everything to stay status quo.
Joe, can I say something to that?
Sure.
Okay, so the survey that was sent out, when that survey was sent out from communications, we did not agree with the content of the survey, and we told communications that the way in which the survey was worded was confusing, and it was not, and we were not given the opportunity which we asked to explain to CSPC chairs exactly what we were asking for. And a lot of it, and if you look at the survey, the return on the survey, and we even had a chance to talk to some CSPC chairs, they were a little confused by it. They didn't understand. They're like, well, just leave it the way it is because we don't understand what all this means, because the context was not explained to them. So again, for all intents and purposes, whatever was returned the return from the survey, really it's kind of skewed information. It's not accurate. Again, because the context was not, we weren't able to give context to our CSPCs. And again, it's another barrier, another roadblock. It always seems like it's a roadblock and a barrier to parent engagement. We talk about, I don't understand this board. They talk about parent engagement, but yet there's nothing but red tape. Like we can't just communicate with our parents. And I don't know if it's a fear of we're going to say something that the board doesn't like, we're going to say, or what it is. But it goes back to something else Gabriella said, that, you know, there's a divisiveness, there's a mistrust, and it has nothing to do with liability. There is that growing divisiveness in schools between CSPCs and administration and principals, and we see it, we hear it from parents, and this is something that is very concerning, especially with parent engagement numbers are so low. You know, we're I don't know what it is we're doing to encourage engagement, because to me it just seems like we're rolling backwards. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Again, our goal here is to find ways to increase parent engagement. And, you know, yes, you know, you're I guess you're speaking to an extreme, you know, where there are, you know, schools that may not encourage it or encapsulate it or make it their priority. Depending on the strength of a CSPC, you know, that could it depends, you know what I mean? However, again, what we have this in front of us now, right? Like this has been, like I said, this hasn't been just a 2-year thing. This has been a 9-year thing. And a lot of things have changed over the years in terms of getting us to this point. And again, I'll like, you know, the way I'm seeing it is through new eyes. And again, I know like the concern is if, you know, Daniel brought it up and Jen brought it up that, well, if you miss the deadline, that principal won't send out your message. Okay. Now we have to realize that, and we said principals are busy. Yeah, principals are definitely busy. I'm hoping they're busy, to tell you the truth, because if they're not busy, then they're not doing what they should be doing. Right? Principals should be every day they're at school, they should be busy. There shouldn't be a moment that a principal sits down to take a break, because they're running a school, they have kids. Parent engagement is part of their thing to do as well. And yes, CSPC there to help. We're not there to help take work off their plate. As parent volunteers, we're there to help collaborate and to find ways to make things efficient at the school level, right? And again, this is, as much as this has been something that all schools do, and I can tell you at my schools we do this, at both my elementary and my secondary school. Yes, this protocol is followed, but it's like a house rule. When you play Monopoly and you have a house rule that, you know, if you land on go, you collect the money in the middle, right? It's not written anywhere. You make up that rule. So we've kind of created this protocol all these years, and we followed it, and principals have followed it, but now we're trying to put it on paper. So what do we as a committee want to see written on paper so that efficient communications go out? Not the schools that have this down packed, the schools that don't have this down packed. That's where we're kind of reaching out for. Jennifer?
Joe, I think we should just table this and push it to another meeting. We obviously need to discuss it more. It's a little bit more than just making a decision or changing 1 or 2 things.
No, 100%. And again, this is one of the pieces why agendas go out 5 days before the meeting, right? So we come to the table with our ideas. Now, here we can if someone puts the motion, just to give you an idea, right? Because we all know the structure of CPIC. This wouldn't come back to the table till December, right? Because there's no meeting in October and there's no meeting, and November is our inaugural meeting where we don't do business, right? We're setting up our council.
Okay, and then it comes back in December. Then it comes back in December, Joe.
Okay, but I'm saying between now and December, okay. So I'm gonna whatever the will of the board is, right? If someone wants to I can't, as chair, I can't put the instruction through. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? I can't create the motion. So if there's something, if we're not receiving this report this evening, or we're not sending back or we're not sending back questions with Ryan to ICT, what are we doing with it?
Can you table it? Would it be called tabling when you table
Or
it?
do you want me to put a motion through, motion to forward it to the next?
But
General
tabling,
CPIC.
so with table, I'm not sure if we table this document, where does it go?
It would go to the next meeting until somebody untables it, right? Superintendent Peterson? I'm pretty sure
Yes,
that's how it
okay.
works.
Yeah, if you're sorry, trustee Larry, you're saying if we're holding the document, right?
It's
And it will
basically what,
move, it will continue to move forward until we deal with it.
So I believe where it's at the moment, and I'm going to find out further from Associate Director Boyce, is from board to consult on the process, which I think we're doing now. And I keep getting kicked out. My internet's bad. You guys still there? Back again? I keep my internet keeps knocking me out. So I think if we table what we're doing here to the next meeting, it just
No. Did we lose Ryan?
holds it up till we have a definitive of where we're gonna go with it next. So I think what has happened is board has asked, and it was, am I back, Joe?
Yeah, you're back. We missed, yeah, you cut off for like a second.
Okay, so I'll just kind of recap. Where I last remember it being was the Board of Trustees wanted CPIC to consult on a process, this report. I think if we table this to the next meeting, it just holds it up and just holds up the process, which is okay. And I'm actually I've connected with Associate Director Boyce on what is the next step here, because it did just go and stuff like that. So it went to us or from us to board and now back to us. So I'm not really sure what that next step is, but it kind of gives us some time. So we've kind of seen it now, we've looked at it. I think it's good that we table it and look at what we can recommend or suggest. I do want to actually, just in terms of some issues around conflict, look at number 4, which I think is quite important. It does say if there's some conflict between the principal and the CS.
Ryan,
Chair. And if there is conflict around parent engagement out of school, and as well as myself to consult on the issue. And let me know if I'm back. Sorry, guys.
yeah, you
Joe?
went out, you started to talk about the conflict and then you went out.
Yeah, so I'll
And
try
then
and
we-
get it before I go out again. Number 4 is important because you need to start involving you. So
That
and
number-
myself in those areas.
Yeah, number 4 is, yes, because I guess within the process now, yeah, we have, if there's conflict, the step up. But I think one of the pieces too, and Jennifer has mentioned, there is no, and again, if we're tabling it, it's deferred, we can still take away some questions, is there is no right back. If there's any addition, if there's any edits, there's no principal to CSPC process, right? In case of edits. Jennifer?
Yeah, so do you want me to put forward a motion to table it to December, or we don't need to do that?
No. We need the
Okay,
report
so
needs
then-
to be either received or deferred, right?
Deferred
So if
then.
we
Put a
can
motion
defer
for-
and we can
motion
put,
forward to defer it to December meeting.
okay. Okay, so it's motion by Jen. Is there anyone who's seconding it?
I'll second that.
Gab, thank you.
Now, I don't know if this is
And-
part of the motion, Joe. I have a question though before we move on.
Okay, so the motion right now is to defer the report to December.
And my recommendation would be, and that between now and December, that we have a meeting to come up with recommendations so that by December, we have something to discuss and to move on.
Okay, so who is meeting? Do you know what I mean? Because right now, this item is an item of the whole, the committee of the whole, right? So moving it to December, it's a committee, it's an item committee of the whole.
Okay,
Right,
Joe, how about we just do this? Gal will just send out, once we go through our elections and we're set up for the new year, we'll send out a letter to everybody and get their feedback that way, and we'll correlate the feedback and we'll be ready for December.
Recommendations. Okay, cool.
That would
Right,
make
because
it easy.
Well, yeah, because again, we're deferring to December. We could move it to a subcommittee. Again, the problem that's happening as we're in our last meetings, our subcommittees are dissolving, right? As we kind of move forward. So like even between now, again, let's defer it till December, and then between now and December, we can kind of have an offline conversation. Right? Because again, it's depending on which members would like to be part of this meeting, right?
Yeah,
Which subcommittee would it fall under, right? This obviously would fall under probably the
Communications, yeah.
our communication, but again, our communication committee is kind of on its way out. And it won't be reformed to the inaugural. So unless it gets like picked up at that point.
Joe, we can figure out the logistics after. Let's just, yeah.
Perfect. Deferred to December, motion by Jen, seconded by Gabriella. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none, so that this report will be deferred. Okay, item 12B. Okay, this was on the addendum. Boy, here we go. Is our Toronto Catholic, is our elections. Okay, so I've said it, this is our last meeting. Our elections are happening in October. I reached out to our digital coordinator to put together a poster. We do currently have a poster, the pieces that Manuela created, that we've used in the past. I had Gus create something a bit more not as bunchy, I guess, to be lack of letter words. A bit more like, I guess, with just an ask, and then you would click for more information. The idea is now, start after this meeting, is we're going to start to reach out to our CSPCs and our principals to distribute CPIC information regarding elections. And we want to use this poster as well to send out. So what we did last year is through our schools, our principals would send out the information using School Messenger. That way it's reaching all the communities. At the same time, we do want to kind of I'm taking a suggestion from our communication strategy questionnaire that I put out in January. Using Twitter, I'm hoping to again use this poster and the poster that was created by Manuela, and tweeting out the different wards. So if we're going to find the schools that have Twitter handles, and we'll tweet them directly. Again, right now the idea is to create awareness for our election. Again, obviously everyone around the table is up to their position as well, right, to come back. And again, I want to remind who's up for election. And it's basically if you are a odd ward, so 1, 3, 5 east and west, 7, 9, 11 north and south is up for election. And we'll also be holding by-elections in 4, 8 west and 12. And as always, our secondary positions are up for election because they are 1-year term, right? So that's the idea, to kind of create, again, the poster idea came from what we used to do before COVID, I guess. BC takes on a new meaning. We used to literally print out flyers and send them to schools and flyer up different schools with CPIC election posters. Now, seeing that that may not work, or parents aren't in the school as often, we've switched again. School Messenger has evolved, has become this communication tool, and we're going to use it to our advantage, and get the posters out this way and out to the school communities. And again, using Twitter, and with the help of the digital coordinator, we're going to try put out those tweets and get the message out that way. Again, the idea is to get more people interested, more people applying for the positions. And while we're doing this, Ryan will be working with his SOs to prepare for the actual elections on the dates that they're happening. Questions? Can I get someone then to move this item?
I will, Joe.
Seconder?
I'll do it. It's Gab.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none, that is received. Thank you. Any, okay, so moving along. We're on item 16. So I'll turn it over to our trustee, Ida Lapretti, for her report.
Hi, again, thank you so much. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. So August 24th, we had our first meeting, our first board meeting. It was very, it was supposed to be really short. It ended up being really long though. There was a presentation from YACE, which was incredible. And we had the notice of motion that was put forward by me and Trustee Lubinsky for the board support in sending a letter to the mayor and all councilors and MPPs to save the Miriam Shrine of Gratitude, which is located in my ward at 3400 Weston Road, which is at risk of being, actually, it's not at risk, it is closed right now. So we're trying to save it. September 7th, there were a couple of amazing updates from Superintendent Delamora. If you have the time, if you didn't watch the meeting, you might want to tune in. There was one on the update on Bill 98, the Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act, and the TCDSB implementation plan. I believe it's about 18 minutes long, his presentation. Then there was the second presentation on Toronto Catholic District School Board summer programming to enhance student achievement, and a lot of wonderful things that the board had implemented over the summer. We discussed the annual report 2022-23 on communication, community engagement and communications, and the annual report of conflict resolution. Another thing offline that's going on at the board, I would love to know, because I can speak at the student achievement on issues from CPIC, and I feel like I've been doing a really bad job, because I'd love for you to tell me what you would like me to do to represent your voice, like at the board table. I think that I've done a pretty horrible job in the last term as your representative of the board, because I feel like I haven't really represented you properly on any of, but I'm not really sure of any motions that have been brought forward in the past year. So moving forward, I'm going to be really, like every single meeting, I'm going to ask, like, is there anything that you want me to bring to the board's attention from CPIC? Okay, let's put it.
Thanks, Ida. In terms of motions, no, this year we haven't had any motions brought forward, and any motions that we do bring forward to Board of Trustees usually generates a report, right? And now having our recording secretary on board, that's what the job of the recording secretary is to capture those pieces as well. So we can, again, in addition, speak to you offline if there's anything in terms of an inquiry that you want trustee Leparty to bring forward to student to student achievement. But a lot of those things too even get captured through our minutes. Jennifer?
Hi, the biggest thing in the last year was obviously the communication, the community policy. But that was, obviously through the board itself. But I just want to say thank you, Ida, because we really do. Sometimes we don't feel like we're heard, but we appreciate that you're going to bring it up a level and help us out, because we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. And like Ida was saying, again, if you have a chance to read, to go back and watch board meetings, I know hockey and basketball don't start for some time. It is something good to watch, and again, lots of information, and it kind of even gives you direction, and even helps us out when watching how the trustees may deal with a report or deal with the motion. It kind of, even you learn, right, some of the how to do something, because again, at the CPIC level, at CPIC, right, we function in that same mannerism in terms of the debate, the motion, the vote. That's something that this statutory committee that gives us our strength, right? Anything with parent engagement that we can put through an emotion and whatnot, that's what gives us the ability to send and to move it upwards to staff and or trustees. Can I get any other questions for Rochelle?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Ms. Peretti. Maria Rizzo had brought in an idea to have water cooling options for schools that don't have ACs. Any idea what's the status on that?
No, we haven't received the report yet from staff. So I'm expecting it to come in when we do the playground reserve, when they start discussing numbers for the next year's playground reserve. That's when I'm anticipating that report to come back to us. And Mr. Chair, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's usually end of November, early December that we start discussing. So I think it'll be end of November, early December.
Thank you.
I think so. Thanks, Rochelle. It depends. I know one of the things that's awaiting the Board of Trustees as well is the EPAN meeting to discuss funding for that. So depending on the number of items that staff are dealing with, it may slow down or speed up other reports that are coming forward.
Yeah, I didn't see it on the agenda for this week.
It tends to follow the financial process, even though, again, our school board end of year fiscally for the board is August 31st. Finances for the board usually don't get ratified till November, early December, because it takes that amount of time to go through the process and to deal with all the transactions that are occurring. Jennifer?
Hi, okay, you brought up playgrounds, and that brought something else into my head, just an FYI, because I know that the line painting for the games in the schoolyards was separated from the playgrounds, and there was something like every school received like $3,500, or didn't receive, but $3,500 was designated per school to have line painting. And the line painting was done at our school, and I know it was done at some surrounding schools. And talking with parents at some of these other schools and ours, we were a little mortified that these line paintings are white. There's no color. There's it's hard for even as a parent walking through and looking at them, it's just, I don't know. I thought we were expecting something more colorful for the kids. It's just white lines everywhere.
Noted. You know what? It's great to hear this, because then to be honest, I had a couple of schools done this over the summer, and you know what, now that you mention it, they were all white, and I didn't even pick up on that. So I will definitely bring that up when when it comes up, because we'll be discussing it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Rochelle? Rochelle, would you like to speak?
Oh, sorry, that was an old hand.
Gabriella?
So just to on the coattails of what Jen said and Ida, to just give you a sense of what happened, at least in one school, the lines that were painted in our school, for example, were painted over mud and dust, and they washed off. So that's not really effective. And number two, we've had some parents bring to our attention, those that were understanding, that there had been about $3,500 per school allocated. We had some parents come to us saying, for $3,500, we could have painted a lot more than what we got. And so there are some parents that are really not happy with the quality that we're receiving. So if you can just bring that back as what are some feedback that we got from some of the schools, that'd be great.
Amazing. And if we could just maybe
we have photos I can forward to you if you'd like.
Yeah, maybe also let your local trustee know so that he's aware, or I don't know if it's actually in his ward. Just communicate it, that way the local trustees are aware, so they could follow up with it as well. Because I don't know the names of the schools, but if you, and I don't want to say it publicly.
No, of course. Okay, got it. Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Gabriella. Thanks, Ida. That's again a good piece of advice. Again, within your wards, to bring up those points with your specific trustee, because that they will be able to even interconnect with other schools and to see if what's happening at one school is happening in another school. They have, I know our trustees are, some of our trustees do a lot of footwork, and like when they hear things like this, they get to it and they act on it. Okay. Okay, receiving Trustee Lipreti's report. Can I get a motion?
I will, Joe.
Jen. I think Jen, and a seconder.
I'll second it.
Second
Okay.
it. I think Jen and Gabriella are winning tonight.
Did we get
I
a
heard
prize?
another voice. I heard another voice.
I think I might, you know,
I'll second it, Joe.
Oh,
Gus
there we
is
go.
seconding it. Woo!
I'm back. Sorry, guys. Hi, everyone.
I may do a term in review and see, you know, who motions and who seconds, and come up with some analytics for moving forward as we move forward with our documents and our agenda. Okay, 16. Perfect. Okay, so we are coming to the end of our meeting. So before we go, I do want to take this last opportunity as the chair to say thank you to all of you around the table, and for the use of your voices and the giving of your time. I know this year we did this couple in person, couple virtual. I hope it worked right for you guys. I wouldn't mind hearing any comments if, you know, we did 2 on, 2 off, and to see if this new meeting structure that we put together for the 2022-2023 school year, because it will probably continue into the 23-24 school year. But if there are comments or whatnot, please always do share. I want to say that it was an honor to chair, to be at the head of this table, and to kind of, I guess, lead this committee forward through the different things. I know there's passion around the table, right? Like I can tell you, even, you know, with sometimes parent engagement, like it makes us emotional, because we know what parent engagement does. We know how it makes our kids and students better, and I've touched on that actually in the annual report. So again, please do go back, have a read. And again, if there's any suggestions, changes, please let me know. I want to say good luck to everyone with the upcoming elections, right? For any members that are running or, going to run again. Again, there's the opportunity with Angel Foundation is there. That's something. And again, if that's something of interest of someone around this table, please do reach out. I'll probably work together with both Ryan and Marco to figure out a way to kind of put that word out. But if again, we're looking for as many applicants as possible, and we can choose one that best fits for AFL, similar to the CPIC election, similar to community members that we want around the table. So this is the last meeting, and it's not, I guess it's not, the saying goes, it's not goodbye, it's just so long, right? Because we'll be back again in a couple of months at our inaugural. So for those members who are still members, and that's basically all the even wards, you're still members, you're for sure coming back in November. Again, it's all our odd members that may not be back. I just want to add too that Gus, even though Gus is a even ward, isn't an even ward, his position actually expires because his child has moved from elementary to secondary, right? So he no longer meets the criteria for an elementary member, and he'll be looking into a secondary position for the new term, or to see as it goes. So I know there's that. I'm going to turn the share off. I want to do one photo of us. So if everyone turns on their camera, including like Boogery Jen.
Not
a chance. It's okay, but you have a picture, so it's okay. You have a picture, so it's fine. But if we can get everyone to maybe turn on their camera, I'm gonna do like a print screen. Or Gus, can you do the print screen?
Sure can.
I'm gonna put it on the annual report. This will be like the last meeting. So smile like really big, like we're really excited. Rochelle, Sasha, if you want to join us too, we can put this the recording secretary in the report as well. Guess you're doing this?
Yeah,
perfect. Okay,
Thanks
everyone.
Again. I wasn't looking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Okay, everyone look at your camera.
Okay, ready? Done.
Okay. Such an ordeal, but it's okay. A little bit of fun at the end of the night. Again, thank you very much, everyone, for everything you guys do and for all the time you give and for dealing with my technical difficulties over the course of the years. Tonight was especially, I don't know what happened tonight, but it was especially, laptops were not my friends. Too many screens right now on my desk.
We had we did a trial session.
We actually did a trial. Me and Gus did a practice session last week just to kind of get back at the swing of things. It didn't help. But thank you to Gabriella who took on the waiting room for me there. So I'm gonna motion. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
That's me, Joe.
Jen? And?
Ida's seconding it.
No, you can't second it. Trustees don't have that.
Second, Joe. Lisa Landrio.
Lisa, perfect. Lisa. Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none. So meeting adjourned. Again, thank you, everyone. If there's any questions, comments, anything, feel free to send me an email. Give me a shout. Everyone at my cell phone has my cell phone number. Talk about elections or whatnot. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks for all your work this year.
Good night.
Good
Good night.
night.
Thanks, everybody.